They might be extremely rich beyond our imagination. Indeed, when you have a lot of money, half of the problems seem to go away. But then again, this is purely surface level thinking for those who don't have enough resources. Behind those big houses, private jets, fancy cars, and attractive women, rich people have their own battles. And this is exactly what Paul Pogba spoke about in a recent interview. As the World Cup qualification playoffs begin, the Italian national team's preparations have taken quite a hit due to the lack of form of two of its most important players who've had a horrible couple of weeks at PSG. He might be leaving Barcelona, but it appears that the Blaugrana have not given up on keeping Ousmane Dembele beyond the current campaign. So buckle up everyone, we've got some exciting bits and pieces to cover today, so let's get cracking. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they are involved in other breaking news. It is the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. At the end of the contract on June 30th, Ousmane Dembele has convinced everyone that he'll leave Camp Nou. On the pitch, he's untenable, and he has a lot to do with the Catalan revival, and in the game against Real Madrid last Sunday at the Santiago Bernabeu, the Frenchman was a force of nature, enough to encourage the Barcelona management to prepare a new offensive to keep its star winger. As the saying goes, in football everything goes very fast. At the beginning of February, and after an incredible end to the transfer window, Ousmane Dembele was booed at Camp Nou and had just heard from the mouth of Joan Laporta that his adventure at Barca was going to end on June 30th. 6 weeks later, the former Rennais man changed what the Blaugrana supporters and his management thought about him. It must be said that the 2018 world champion has never been as good as this since that unfortunate episode. In his last 5 La Liga matches played with Barca, Dembele has scored 1 goal, but above all delivered 7 assists, a record in the 5 major European championships in 2022. Against Real Madrid in the Clásico, he once again played the entire game, and his chemistry with Aubameyang once again proved decisive. The French international, who was not retained by Didier Deschamps, who nevertheless left the door open for the next rally, has finally found his feet and his ability to make the difference with the ball. This is something that has forced Barcelona into changing the way they see the player. Joan Laporta is determined to keep the player and is reportedly preparing a new offer. The duration of the deal has not yet been confirmed, but it's being reported that the former Borussia Dortmund man could make €20 million a year and will also get to have a nice signing bonus. Reportedly, Dembele has a verbal agreement with PSG, who are still waiting for him to sign with them. But the likes of Newcastle United, Manchester United and Tottenham are also waiting in the wings, which means that the youngster has loads of options to call upon. Barcelona, though, cannot afford to be hopeful about this case. Italy are playing the playoff semi-final for the 2022 World Cup against North Macedonia, but they have a serious concern linked to the form of 2 of its main players, the Parisians Gianluigi Donnarumma and Marco Verratti. The fear of emptiness. Reigning European champions Italy missed the last 2018 World Cup in Russia. The Squadra Azzurra wants to avoid a second snub of its kind this year. The Nazionale will therefore have to get rid of North Macedonia in the semi-final of the playoffs, then emerge the winner over the winner of the duel between Portugal and Turkey. An arduous mission for the men of Roberto Mancini, especially since the state of certain executives worries on the other side of the Alps. Laporte fears that the misfortunes of PSG, in full negative spiral after their elimination in the knockout stages of the Champions League against Real Madrid, will weigh heavily on 2 of the strong men of the national side, Donnarumma and Verratti. It is enough to see the content of the questions asked this Tuesday at a press conference to understand what's happening. Marco Verratti prepared to kick into touch. Everyone has their story in the club. Then here we give everything. Obviously, the elimination with PSG displeases us. We had other ambitions and objectives, but here it is something else. When you walk through the door of Coverciano training centre, you forget everything, the defeats with your club, and you think back to the Euro won last summer, he said before discussing the case of his teammate. No, Gigio is not affected. He is obviously disappointed to have made this mistake against Real Madrid, but Gigio is a special boy. The next day he was already back to work with great enthusiasm. Let's not forget what he did during the last Euro. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, he said. The whole of Italy is crossing its fingers so that the two men do not suffer the repercussions of their Parisian difficulties while on national duty. At the end of his contract at Manchester United in June, Paul Pogba decided to take stock of what has been a chaotic 6-year spell at Old Trafford. And if the World Cup winner's words are anything to go by, it is clear that he is not going to sign an extension and prefers to end his time in England. He was brought to the Premier League to shine, but sadly, we have not seen the best version of Paul Pogba often enough. It's a safe bet that Paul Pogba is living his last weeks at Man United. Recruited with great fanfare in 2016 against €105 million from Juventus, the Frenchman was never able to silence all the criticisms against him. Too inconsistent, annoying sometimes, brilliant too, but it's ultimately the irregularity that prevails when we open his balance sheet of almost 6 seasons. At the end of the contract, next June, he represents this contemporary Manchester United quite well. Too few trophies, a Europa League and a League Cup, despite millions spent on recruitment and coaching changes. The Red Devil supporters will be the first to notice it. The Pogba seen in England is not at all the same as in the France team. Already, I agree with this observation, said Pogba while talking to a French publication. It's the truth. Here, I have a lot more playing time. The system is different than in a club. In fact, it's simple. For France, I play, and in addition, at my best position. I know my role. I feel the confidence of the coach, the players. It's normal to feel this difference with Manchester because it's hard to be consistent when you often change position, game system, or partners. Whether under Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, and now Rangnick, the midfielder always seemed to search and rarely found his place. To believe that Didier Deschamps holds the miracle recipe to put the 2018 world champion in good spirits, it's not just that. The coach, we get along very well. He gave me a role that I know, but at Manchester United, do I really have a role? I ask the question and I don't have the answer. He wonders as if to better support the line. Faced with such statements, it's very difficult to believe that he will sign a new deal at Old Trafford. Like any good player, Pogba wants to win, to progress, and to make up for the lost time where he could not win a lot of trophies. Naturally, the Frenchman admits that he isn't happy that he did not win any trophies and he would like to change that. But more than that, Pogba spoke about how depression got the better of him. The Frenchman revealed that it all started when he started working with Jose Mourinho. I've had depression in my career, but we don't talk about it, Pogba said in an interview with Le Figaro while on international duty with France. Sometimes you don't know you are, you just want to isolate yourself, be alone. These are unmistakable signs. Personally, it started when I was with Jose Mourinho at United. You ask yourself questions. You wonder if you are at fault because you have never experienced these moments in your life. All top athletes go through these moments, but few talk about it. Inevitably, you will feel it. Depression, in your body, in your head, and you may have a month, even a year, where you are not well, but you don't have to say it, in any case publicly. We earn a lot of money and we don't complain really, but that doesn't prevent us from going through moments that are more difficult than others, like everyone else in life. Of course, depression is real, and it doesn't really matter whether you're rich or struggling to stay above water. What Pogba experienced at Man United was something not many world-class players do. Here he was in a team that was making off-the-cuff decisions with managers, simply never being good enough to get the best out of him. His role changed every other season, so naturally, Pogba's performances were affected. And now that he's nearing the end of his current deal with the club, the Frenchman is likely to opt for a club with a manager who understands his strengths and would be willing to implement a style of play that gets the best out of him.